Hello. We're going to be doing our vocabulary diamond for this week, and we're going to be reading about Cesar Chavez and about the life of Cesar Chavez, um, and about the uh, farm worker labor movement. So, our words this week are all going to kind of relate to that subject. So, I'm going to go ahead and screen share for you. All right, so I went ahead and I already folded my diamond because I feel like you guys already know how to do that. Backwards, you could fold it in your sleep. So our first word, I'm going to make sure I write my name on it. And our first word is overcome. Overcome is a verb. And it means to get better with struggle. Defeated. So overcome can also mean, it really has two meanings. Overcome can mean that you are just, there's so much pressure on you that you just crumble, right? And so that synonym goes with that definition. So you could also say overwhelmed. Another version of overcome is to get better with time and with struggle. And so if you're thinking of that in the labor union way, then I guess you would be thinking that Cesar Chavez overcame obstacles to be able to form the United Farm Workers Union. So in other words, you overcome obstacles or things get better because of your struggle. All right. And so one of the ways that they were able to overcome difficulties that farm workers had was by striking. So farm workers refused to pick grapes, and also people boycotted grapes and refused to buy them, and that caused the farmers that grew the grapes to have to make changes in the way that they treated the workers. All right, let's look at capital is the next one. It's a noun. Capital is the center of government. Center is my synonym. And in California, you draw a little map of California. We have right here at our elbow, we have Sacramento, which is right kind of in the center. And so that is our capital. It's the capital of California. It's not the original capital. Monterey was our original capital, but the capital was moved to Sacramento, partially, I think, because we had so many people coming overland. And when you came up over the Sierra Nevada mountains, the Sacramento Valley was right there. And so it became the capital of California. In the early days of California, people got here by ship. And so that's why I think Monterey was the capital back then. Not as many people came overland, they came by ship. So, and because Monterey is on the coast and has a harbor, Monterey was the capital at that time. But as more people started coming overland, Sacramento became the capital. And it's where our state government is located now. Our next word is drought. A drought is a noun. It's a scarcity. And it means an extended water shortage. So a drought just means that there's not as much water left when you turn on the sink. Instead of a nice big large amount of water showing up, there is a trickle of water showing up, right? So there's very little water. And luckily, we've had a few storms that will hopefully. We were kind of heading into a drought again this summer, and there's been a little bit of rainfall. So hopefully, we'll have just a little bit more. All right. Dedicate is our next word. Dedicate is a verb, and it means to devote earnestly. Devote is the synonym. So if you're dedicated to something, it means you're willing to give time to it and you're willing to give effort to it. Many of you are dedicated to your schoolwork, and so you're willing to spend time accomplishing your work, and you work really hard at it. I'm dedicated to being a ceramic artist, so that means that at least 3 times a week, I spend time making ceramics. That's not easy to do since I already have a job during the daytime and nighttime. So, but I feel strongly about it, so I dedicate myself to it. So dedicating yourself to something just means that it's a thing that you feel very strongly about, right? You have a feeling in your heart of what is important, right? And so you're willing to spend time and dedicate time to what is important to you. Maybe your family's important to you, so you dedicate time to do that, to spend time with them. Okay, we're on the next page, and I'm going to flip it this way. And I have publicity as the next word. Publicity is a noun, and it means an extensive mention in the media. And hoopla, which is a great word, was my synonym. So if you have lots of publicity, it means that you are going to be seen on TV and on the interweb, right? Or in the newspaper or on the radio. Brilliant is our next word. And it's an adjective. And it means shining brightly. Dazzling is my synonym. So brilliant also can be used for describing intelligence, right? If someone says, oh, she's brilliant, means that the person's really smart. But it also can kind of mean that think about a person who's working really hard, doing their work and trying really hard, is also shiny and bright. I described my class last year as being sparkly. They're really loud. This year's 5th graders, they're super loud. Like in class, they were always talking. They were always loud. They were always blah, 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 blah. But they were talking because they were smart and they had things to say and they were interested and active learners. And so I used to call them sparkly. I'm like, you guys are so sparkly. And they really were sparkly because they like to talk about different subjects. And so that's why they were so noisy, because they were excited about school and interested in what we were learning. So brilliant just means that you're kind of sparkly or shiny, and it can mean your brain is sparkly or shiny, or it can mean that something is literally sparkling or shiny. Um, so I kind of think of it as being um, like a light bulb, right? You're brilliant in that way. Okay, horizon. This always makes me laugh because I had a student named Horizon once. It's a noun. It's a girl. It's a grumpy fifth grade girl named Horizon. Um, Horizon is the boundary between earth and sky. Sorry, that's an A. I don't have my erasable pen. Between earth and sky. So the word horizontal kind of comes from that. And I used border. So the horizon line is if the sun is setting, right, and we're seeing the last of the sun go down, and we might see some train tracks. Should make that keep going. And might see some trees. Trees or broccoli. Trees look very broccoli-like. Might see like a little shrub over here. Okay, so the horizon line is the line between the earth and the sky. And it's kind of the line that makes some people think that the earth is flat. But the earth isn't flat. We've seen it from space. So looks like it's flat when you're looking at the horizon line. All right, and the last word is conflicts. Conflicts, that's going to be a noun. And it is a battle or a struggle. And rivalry was the synonym I got. So there were lots of, in the labor movement that Cesar Chavez helped to pioneer, there were a lot of conflicts. There were conflicts between growers and farmers, and conflicts between farm workers, right? And it sort of climaxed in farm workers developing and forming a union, and being able to fight for their rights, um, the right to have bathroom breaks, the right to be able to wash their hands, the right to be able to have fair working conditions. So all of those things were things that we're kind of used to now, but they did not exist in the olden days. And there are still some farmers and some farms that do not follow the rules and are not fair with their employees. So lots of conflict, lots of harshness, lots of bad feeling. And in a lot of ways, the conflicts, we drew a little strike sign before, but if we draw like let's draw the farm workers. I don't know what the bottom looks like of the farm workers flag, but we'll, So that's a U, puede. So farm workers began to organize and began to try to overcome the conflicts and so that they could have more rights. Um, we'll read a little bit about the Great Boycott is kind of what started things off. What happened is the the farm workers that worked with grapes stopped working. They went on strike and they stopped picking grapes. And people also, customers in grocery stores stopped buying grapes. So there were less grapes for sale and also people weren't buying them. And it caused all of the farms that grew grapes to have to reevaluate how they dealt with their employees. The employees said they would come back and pick the grapes if they were treated fairly. And also the boycott by consumers, people that shopped in the stores. I remember when I was a little kid, we did not buy grapes. And part of the reason we didn't buy grapes is because we were supporting the ban on grapes. And I remember as a little kid, like in the store and thinking, oh, why aren't we getting grapes? And then after that ended, my mom would always buy grapes. We would always have grapes around our house. So the Great Boycott was the beginning of the farm workers movement. All right. So thank you for joining me, and we'll come back here to finish off our little lesson and say goodbye. Say goodbye to one another. Farewell, farewell. All right. So I will talk to you later. Thanks for joining me.